Greetings, I'm Charles Bernard and I paint paperback book covers. I'm also the founder of the Online Art Academy, which teaches an art course called the Complete Illustration Art Course that features the things that I learned when I was working at the famous artist school. And it was located in Westport, Connecticut. It had as its faculty members such great illustrators like Norman Rockwell, Bernie Fuchs, Bob Peak, Harold von Schmidt, Al Parker, Stephen DeHanis, John Whitcomb. Now, some of these illustrators you might not have heard of, so if you want to know more about them, you can find out more by going to Google and typing in their names, or type in Famous Artist School, and you'll learn more about this great school. I also took their course, but I also worked there in the art department. And while I was there, I learned many things, and those things I put into my Complete Illustration Art Course. In this video, you'll get some idea of how the Online Art Academy will teach you and what it will teach you. Here you see a partial list of what are called the core fundamentals. These are the things you're going to need to learn about, understand, and be able to apply to your drawings and paintings. It is these things, these core fundamentals, that will transform you from being a beginner or amateur into a real professional artist, into an artist who is able to produce really good or even great art. And it doesn't matter what kind of artist you want to become. Whether you want to be an illustrator, a concept artist for the entertainment industry, or a fine artist, you will need to know and understand and be able to apply these core fundamentals to whatever art you want to make. And my art course, which is called the Complete Illustration Art Course, will teach you all of these core fundamentals, but not just what you see here, many other things as well that I haven't listed. So this is just a partial list of the core fundamentals. My Complete Illustration Art Course is a structured art course, which means you will know where to begin, what the first subject is that you need to study. And it is only through a structured art course that you're really going to make any kind of steady progress, because the structured art course informs you where to begin. And right here you can see it says begin here, which means that you start where the number 1 is. The various subjects are numbered, so you know number 1 is where you begin. Then you move on to the next subject, which is down here, number 2, and then you look for number 3, and so on. But let me get back to number 1 here. Number 1 is about learning to draw form. That's what you need to learn first. And here are the videos for that subject. Now you know which one to watch first. It's this one right here. You follow the order presented, and then you move down to where it says right here, part 1. The next video is part 2, then part 3, then part 4. Then you move down to these videos. Here's part 1, and then you move on to part 2. So you know which videos to watch. You're progressing in an orderly way. You're getting better and better because of this structured learning that you're following. You're not just jumping around to a lot of different videos. You don't know where to begin, what video you should watch first and which one to watch next, and so on. And a lot of these online art schools that I've seen, they are not really structured, or if they are structured, they're very loosely structured. They don't give you a precise roadmap to follow, which my art course, the Complete Illustration Art Course, gives you. That's what you need, in my opinion, if you want to make steady progress as an art student, getting better and better and better. That's the best way if you follow some kind of structured learning. That's how schools are set up. You go to first grade, then second grade, third grade, and you learn more and more with each grade that you go to. That's how you get better. That's how you learn. And not the kind of art courses that give you a bunch of videos and they leave it up to you as to which videos to watch. So you don't know where to begin and you don't know where to end. A beginner's meager efforts, represented here by this stick figure, if he or she
chooses the wrong path, which means the wrong art training, then at the end of your journey, you won't be doing much better than what you see here. But with the right kind of training, then you can end up doing something like this, or even better than this.
And now I'm going to give you some examples of the kind of things you're going to be learning about. Here, for example, principles and elements of design, part 1, repetition, harmony, contrast. So here's an example of what the video will teach you. At the top it says the elements of picture making, and they are principles of design: dominance, balance, repetition, unity, harmony, alternation, contrast, and gradation. Then there are what is called the elements of design, which are not the principles of design. They are different. Elements of design are line, shape, texture, color, size, direction, and value. They make up an image. An image is made up of these elements of design. So a figure, for example, is made up of these elements of design. And then the principles of design are applied to these elements of design. So if you don't really know what I'm talking about, you will after you've finished with these kind of lessons. Now, in many examples, I show you a simple abstract design like this on the left, and then I show you what the principle that the abstract design is talking about looks like in an actual painting or sketch. And this is a rough color sketch, and I usually do these rough color sketches because they go fast, and this way I can quickly get this information across to you so that you can begin to understand this and apply it to your own paintings. But in order to clarify things, I usually show you a simple abstract design like this on the left here. These 3 shapes, for example, they represent repetition, and also they are an element of design, such as size and shape, so, and as well as value. So those things are then applied to a rough color sketch that I do, such as you see here. And this rough color sketch is going to be changed according to what principles of design I'm going to be applying to that rough color sketch. So this is just a quick introduction so that you have some idea of how you're going to be learning these things that are so critical to you developing as an artist. Without a knowledge and understanding and an ability to apply these things, such as the principles of design and elements of design, you're not going anywhere. You're going to remain at that amateur or beginner level if that's where you're at now. So in order to progress and advance and become better as an artist, you need to understand these kind of elements of picture making, which my videos, which my entire course is about. So moving on to another example here, color intensity keys, for example. This lesson talks about the different intensities of color. And in this rough color sketch that I did, here you see an example of the dominant intensity of color, which is a more neutral. It's not a highly saturated color that this rough color sketch was done in. And I talk about how a dominance of intensity of color can unify the entire painting through color. So here you see all of the colors having a lower saturation, although some have a bit higher saturation, such as on his face, for example. That color has a bit more intensity or saturation of color than his helmet, for example, or his surroundings here. And as you get back further where the helicopters are, that's where you find the least intense or saturated color. So there is this gradation of intensities of color with the low intensity of color dominating. That is, more of the lower intensity of color is in this rough color sketch than the more highly saturated color. You don't really find any highly saturated color here. If I, for example, had placed this highly saturated red over here, it would be out of place. It wouldn't be in harmony with the rest of the more desaturated color. And it wouldn't look like it's part of the rest of the painting. It would look like it didn't belong there. And therefore, it wouldn't be in harmony with the other colors. So this just gives you a brief example of the kind of lessons about color that you're going to be learning about. You see here, you can see that more saturated red that I was just talking about, how it looks out of place, like it doesn't belong with the rest of the painting. It's not in harmony, as I said, with the other colors which are desaturated. So moving on now, it's all about how to draw and paint clothes and folds. So you'll be learning all about that as well. If you're going to be painting people in clothes, you need to know how to apply those clothes, and you need to know the various folds that occur within clothing, such as this one here, pipe fold. There are 6 other folds that you'll need to learn about, which you will learn in the lessons on clothes and folds. So I'm going to move on to another section of that video. Direction of folds. Folds have a direction. And you see that over here with these arrows. The fold starts over here where the hand is, and then it moves to the left. That's the direction that the fold is taking. And then the drawing on the right, here again you can see the direction that these folds take. So here's another example of what you'll be learning about. And again, direction of folds. So I do a quick rough sketch to get this information across to you quickly so you don't have to wait long. And here you see the direction of folds. And they are beginning here where the buttocks are in the back, and then they move forward to the front of the upper leg. That's their direction. And here's another lesson on color, color trek, keys to great color. Now with this lesson, you're going to be learning about color design. What makes color design? And in the upper left, you can see the standard color wheel that you'll be learning about. And then I give rough color examples like this one here, in which I explain the color design, the principles of color design. I'm going to continue here, and you can see on the left there, that's the mixer. This software is Painter that I'm using, and I'm using the mixer to mix color, and then I'm applying that mixture to my little rough color sketch that you see there. See that color that I just picked up from the mixer and applied to that color sketch. Then I mixed a different color and I'm applying that. So here again I'm doing a quick rough color sketch to get this knowledge across to you quickly.